Jonathan Schwartz is on set for the Lemonade Tour rehearsals. He had recently been hired by superstar Beyonce to ensure her highly anticipated tour brought in as much money as possible.
These high net worth celebrities are targets of lawsuits. You could be an artist, a drummer, and you throw your pick out and it hits a fan in the eye. You're likely going to be sued.
But just as the curtain raises on what is supposed to be the biggest moment of his career, he gets a phone call. It's the FBI, wanting to know what happened to the $4.6 million missing from the bank account of Alanis Morissette. He agrees to a lie detector test, knowing the truth is far worse. Nearly $7 million was embezzled from his very famous clients, all while battling a raging coke and gambling addiction.
In the car ride, remember, about an hour and a half, I'm doing blow after blow after blow, and I placed my last bet with my bookie. This is what I'm doing on the way to get this lie detector test done.
From $1 million salary to working at Dunkin' Donuts, this is the story of Jonathan Schwartz, Hollywood's most reckless scam artist.
Unthinkable.
Jonathan was born into a family of accountants. It was the late 90s, and after graduating, he joined his cousin's accounting firm.
Yeah, I have 7 cousins in my family that are accountants. So I believe I was predetermined or predestined to be an accountant.
Okay.
And one of them was an accountant in the entertainment community, specializing in music.
There he managed money for what he would call B-level clients in the entertainment industry. Determined not to be seen as just a nepotism hire, he made sure he was always the first in and last to leave. He worked relentlessly, driven by a desire to give his family the life he believed they deserved, and his dedication didn't go unnoticed. Soon, he was taken under the wing of legendary business manager Michael Oppenheim, known for working with giants like Eminem and Beyonce. It's the year 2000, and their first client together is a relatively unknown band looking for help managing their expenses. That same year, they released Hybrid Theory, and overnight, Linkin Park became a household name.
Music should be your life, period. You need to live it, you need to eat it, sleep it, wake up, and the only way you're ever even going to have a chance to make it in this business is if you are willing to sacrifice everything to achieve your goal.
Each member of Linkin Park was very meticulous with every detail, ensuring the band could be as great as possible, and their dedication paid off. Hybrid Theory sold over 20 million copies that year alone.
Because of that success that they had and the expectations that they had on a business manager myself, they really taught me a lot about what I needed to do to become a better business manager. I mean, they treated their music like it was, Apple.
As the band soared, so did Jonathan's career. He went from earning $500,000 a year to over $1.4 million. He and his family now had the big house in Agoura Hills, the fancy cars, living the American dream.
Please welcome Alanis Morissette.
Soon after, he signed Alanis Morissette, the Canadian singer who had skyrocketed to fame with the 1995 album Jagged Little Pill. That record sold 33 million copies worldwide, cementing her status as a global icon. The 2000s were a golden era for Jonathan and his firm. He and his family were thriving, but by 2010, something had shifted. What began as harmless bets, just a few dollars on basketball and college football games, quickly spiraled out of control. Soon, he was gambling all weekend on college football. Jonathan underestimated how dangerous an addiction to this sort of vice could be, because within a few months, he upped the stakes to a few $100s, which very quickly turned to a couple thousand, and by the end of the year, he was betting up to $250,000 a day.
So this money adds up. It's like $250,000 a day now, I'm betting, on the weekends when there's all these games and activities, right?
Jonathan's gambling addiction was at full-blown degeneracy. He'd win occasionally, but lose far often. And he wasn't a good gambler either. Everyone knows you don't gamble on every single game. But Jonathan had 5 different directions for each game.
Not only did I bet on every game, I bet the totals, over-unders. I bet parlays. I bet teasers. I bet first half, second half. So now think about this. Every game, most games, I'm doing all bets. I'm doing 4 or 5. I've got 4 or 5 directions within each game.
This was how he was able to reach numbers so irresponsibly high. He was betting like a billionaire with a 7-figure net worth.
First of all, there's no good gambler, right? But the worst gambler was Jonathan Schwartz.
And he had to keep this a secret from his wife. No way anyone's partner would co-sign such reckless behavior. But the hole Jonathan kept digging was nowhere near complete. He crossed the line no one with the power of attorney should ever cross, and he did this by embezzling money from Alanis Morissette. Power of attorney means someone other than you, a very trusted individual, or someone you hire, who can make legal or financial decisions on your behalf. This was how he was able to take money directly from her bank account, just enough to cover his debts, just enough to avoid suspicion from Alanis, his wife, and his business partners.
I borrowed in 2010 when I started gambling from, let's say, $25,000 from Alanis, borrowing it. The intent was, I'm going to pay her back this next week, right? Because I'm a great gambler. In my mind, right? This is the degenerate mind of a gambler. I'm thinking, I'll just pay her back. So I'm just going to quote unquote borrow it. Well, the next week comes and I lose again. What a surprise.
I think I was as secure and as fearless as I am now, in the sense that I don't think I could write the same way then.
Alanis had set that money aside for her retirement, saving for the dream house she had always wanted. For Jonathan, it was the perfect hiding place because he knew she wouldn't check. Each month when they met, he would deliberately leave her bank statements out of their meetings.
So when I would meet with Alanis every month, I would create these Excel spreadsheets, right? What I didn't bring with me was source documents, i.e. bank statements, okay? Had she asked me for a bank statement, I'm done.
Yeah. Alanis unfortunately trusted him completely. After a decade of working together, she believed he would never betray that trust. Every attempt to hide his addiction pulled him deeper into a world of secrecy and desperation. Weekends became a blur of reckless bets. The thrill was short-lived, but the losses were real.
It became $21 million gambled over a 6-year period. So it was the $50 became, betting every day on sports, literally. The phone records show bookie being called.
And every Tuesday, the bookies had to be paid. The losses kept mounting, and with every desperate bet, he dipped deeper and deeper into that account. He had transferred so much money that he soon lost track of how much he owed her. Over 6 years, he drained every last cent of that $4.6 million from her account.
Basically, I realized I can't take from Alanis anymore, right? And I don't know what made me think that, but it was in my mind. I didn't even know it was the $4.6 million at that point yet. I'm thinking it was maybe $1 million, $2 million from that household account.
This was when Jonathan found himself at the crossroads, when he realized the true depths of his ugly addiction. Stop now, come clean. Sell your assets and cover your debts with Alanis, or keep betting in the hopes you win big enough to cover all your debts without anyone ever finding out. He chose the second option, setting his sights on what he called less proactive clients.
What happened was, I'm like, let me go take from another client. What other client isn't very proactive in their financial affairs?
Lincoln Park, for example, we know is very meticulous, always on top of every detail. Stealing from them was out of the question. The remaining 5 clients have yet to be publicly named, their identities still sealed from the record. But like Alanis, the first 2 targets were easy. Every Monday, Jonathan would call their bank and falsely request transfers, claiming the money was for investments or business expenses. Because he had power of attorney, no one questioned him. The last 3 clients, according to Jonathan, were professional athletes. He'd pitch them with fake investment opportunities, deals that never existed, just to cover his gambling debts. When the money disappeared, he simply told them the investment had gone bad.
So what other client am I going to take from? Because I can't take it out of my own account still. My ex-wife will kill me, my partners will kill me, my career will be over. Let me just continue to chase. And as a degenerate, that's what I did.
Jonathan's time was running out, and he knew it. The hole he dug for himself was getting deeper and deeper by the day. He started using cocaine. He stopped showing up, stopped caring. The sharp-driven professional he once was had faded, and Alanis, she felt it. She felt abandoned, pushed aside while Jonathan poured his energy into his bigger clients, Matthew McConaughey, Mariah Carey, Gwyneth Paltrow, and now Beyonce. Eventually she had enough and fired him. At that point, Alanis still had no idea that the $4.6 million was missing. She was focused on her retirement, building the life she had worked so hard for. Meanwhile, Jonathan's career, at least on the surface, was still soaring. The summer before, Beyonce and Jay-Z were in the middle of a public cheating scandal, and Beyonce saw it as the perfect opportunity to leverage all this media attention to build hype around her next album, Lemonade. And it worked. Demand for a world tour was quickly recognized, and Jonathan was in the thick of it all, working closely with Beyonce's tour manager, Alan Floyd, mapping out cities, venues, and logistics. and the Formation Tour became one of the biggest tours of the 2010s, selling 2 million tickets across 49 shows. But while Jonathan's new clients were achieving their dreams, his old clients' nightmares were just beginning. Before officially taking over the finances of Alanis, a new business manager ran a routine audit, and that's when they finally discovered the missing money.
I was in Tampa Bay, Florida. Beyonce was starting her Lemonade tour. And so I get a call from one of my partners and says, hey, where did this $4.6 million go? This is the call I received when I'm really helping Beyonce with her Lemonade tour rehearsals. We did it at the Tampa Bay Stadium, whatever stadium that's called. And I'm trying to help her improve her bottom line so she, is happy with the profit margin she has. Now I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to get caught.
Jonathan's ego, however, was still behind the wheel, so much so that when the FBI got involved due to the sheer amount of money missing, he agreed to take a polygraph test. He knew the truth was closing in. Any moment now, his secret could be exposed to everyone. So what was his response? More gambling, more cocaine. When the FBI called him in for the polygraph, he finally came clean to his wife. And her reaction? Well, how do we beat this? Together they Googled how to beat the polygraph. And on the way to the test, Jonathan was doing back-to-back lines of cocaine, convinced he could outsmart the system, and he genuinely believed he passed.
In the car ride, remember, about an hour and a half, I'm doing blow after blow after blow, and I placed my last bet with my bookie. This is what I'm doing on the way to get this lie detector test done. Never taken a lie detector test in my life before, but now I know I can beat it, right? I'm on blow, no problem.
You've read a couple articles, right?
Yeah, of course.
But he didn't. Not even close. According to the examiner, it was one of the worst polygraph results they'd ever seen. When the FBI informed Alanis of their findings, she was furious, and rightfully so. Jonathan had stolen nearly $7 million, and of all his victims, she suffered the most. She didn't hesitate to testify at his trial, and in the end, she managed to recover every cent when the government seized and sold off his assets. At first, Jonathan's wife stood by him, but as more details came to light, especially the infidelities and the complete unraveling of their financial life, her support faded. 2 weeks after they had Googled how to beat the polygraph test, she filed for divorce.
So for about a month or two, I stayed in the house, and then we just weren't getting along. Now she realized what I really did.
It wasn't until his sentencing 6 years in federal prison that humility finally caught up with him. Up until then, Jonathan's ego was still in charge. He thought there might still be a way out, but prison brought him the sobering clarity he had been running from. It forced him to see the wreckage he left behind, what he had done to his victims, his family, and his business partners. Today, Jonathan dedicates his life helping others battling addiction. He is the director of programming at Altus Rehab, a top-tier luxury treatment facility in Encino, California.
Or if you're struggling with addiction, go to treatment, please. Because most people in addiction don't realize how much we rupture and hurt our family.